Welcome, friends. We are so excited to be a part of your prep for the week ahead. This is a general message for the collective, so whether there's something in it for you or perhaps for someone to whom you're connected, please remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. Our weekly workshop is meant to connect you with Spirit's guidance and help you determine what actions you can take to make space for the blessings that Spirit has coming your way. You'll want to have something nearby to take notes as we work through these exercises. And remember, you can always pause the video to give yourself time to finish each exercise before moving on to the next. The workshop itself is intended to be a tool, a catalyst for your personal growth. You will determine whether and how the messages apply to your life circumstances, what decisions you'll make, and what actions you'll take as a result. But something important to keep in mind, the messages contained within this workshop are not intended to take the place of professional advice, whether financial, legal, or medical. So please, seek the advice of a professional as appropriate for your life circumstances. Let's take a moment to connect with Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for the blessings of this day and of all of the days before. Thank you for your wisdom, guidance, energy, and love. What messages can you send to help us achieve the best possible outcome for our highest good and for that of all with whom we come into contact? The Ten of Wands in the reverse can help represent a fear of relying on others, or it could be a message to release the burden of others' expectations on us, to stand up for ourselves. The Empress is the embodiment of unconditional love, nurturing, empathy, and compassion. And Six of Swords can signify moving away from painful situations, receiving support along the way. It can also represent you on a journey of transformation. But taken in context with the other cards, I'm really getting the sense that the Ten of Wands reversed is a call to action from Spirit, whether to release your fear of failing to measure up to the expectations set by others, or to release your fear of asking for help. For some, maybe it's both, to release the fear of asking for help and to release that fear because you also fear asking for help might make you appear as less to others. In either case, living from beneath these fears may have you feeling exhausted. You may be feeling like you've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders with no way to lay it down. You keep pushing forward in the same manner, feeling the same low vibrational energy as though there is no other choice. For those of us who have the fear of failing to measure up to those standards that's set by others, then we turn into a cycle of people-pleasing and putting others' expectations ahead of our own. For those of us who fear asking for help, perhaps we're worried about being judged or being perceived as not being able to handle things all on our own. And what that does then is create a need to have complete control over all of our circumstances, to do everything on our own so that we can appear strong or so that we can maintain control of the situation and so that we can avoid failure and judgment. But either way, those fears are heavy and they create a very heavy feeling within inside us. So amidst all of that weight, the Empress arrives to let us know there is absolutely another choice. We can absolutely lay those burdens down. For those of us living our lives to please others and feeling like we're failing to do so, the Empress asks us to remember who we are. Every single living soul has unlimited capacity for unconditional love, nurturing, empathy, and compassion. She asks us to turn these capabilities inward, to ask ourselves, what are my dreams? What do I want? What makes me happy? For those of us afraid to ask for help, fearing judgment, rejection, or failure, the Empress reminds us that we have a loving, supportive network of energy available to us, just waiting to be given permission to come rushing in, if only we'd lift our heads from the path to recognize it. Sometimes we get so goal-oriented, so focused on both appearances and results, that we trudge right past the resources and people the Spirit has placed along our journey to help us out. The Empress asks us to look up, look around, see if there are resources available to us beyond what we are immediately aware of. And it's not enough simply to see them, reach for them. They've been available to us for a reason. So if the Ten of Wands reversed shows the burdens of our fears and anxieties, and the Empress is begging us to release those fears, then to me, the Six of Swords shows us what is possible if we allow ourselves to be led through, out of, and away from those fears and negative energies. If our reverse burden is people-pleasing, Six of Swords shows us shifting our focus inward, moving away from the standards and expectations of others, and redirecting that energy toward fulfilling the expectations we have for ourselves. It doesn't mean that other people's expectations don't matter, but rather they should be secondary, to be taken into consideration, but not to be the determining factor. For those of us whose reverse burden is fear of asking for help, of releasing an unhealthy need for control, Six of Swords asks us to open ourselves up to receiving help or support and see what is possible as a result. You see, the figure on this card in the Ten of Wands reversed was hauling around quite a lot, and with opening up to the loving and supportive energies made available by Spirit, also had the ability to lay some of that down. The transformation journey isn't complete in the Six of Swords, but the travel may be lighter, faster, and less burdensome for the support that's been allowed in. Whatever your burdens may be, Spirit wants you to seek out and lean into all of the loving support available to you, both from within and from without, so that you can move forward, emotionally lighter and able to receive all of the abundance and blessings that await you along your journey. So now that we have the overarching message, let's pull some additional cards to clarify. And look at that. First clarifier out of the deck is the Empress. For me, this confirms that Spirit wants us to leverage the loving and supportive energies within or around us to begin laying down the burdens that we carry in the form of our fears and anxieties. Whether our reverse burden is rooted in people-pleasing or the fear of asking for help or anywhere in between, the butterflies at the Empress feet are a call to evolve and transform. In the context of this reading, I'm reminded that transformation often involves some level of discomfort. As we shed our skins and the skins of our former selves, changing ourselves, our habits, it can feel kind of scary. But the Empress reminds us that there is a network of support available to us to help us along the way. And the rabbits in this card remind me of this Rabbit Spirit card, which asks us to be vulnerable, to co-create with Spirit and create something new. In terms of this reading, I'm sensing that the new thing is an evolved version of ourselves. If we've always been people pleasers, Spirit wants us to step into the confidence of making decisions based on our own intuition, our own expectations, to evolve into a more independent version of ourselves. If we've always been the type of person to do everything on our own, Spirit asks us to take a chance on asking others for help, to leverage the explosion of possibility that comes with collaboration. But what does it mean? Should people pleasers never strive to meet others' expectations? Should autonomous people always work in concert with others? The pigeon in this card reminds us to listen to our intuition. Be open to those expectations and collaboration opportunities, but pay close attention to what your gut is telling you. Ultimately, it's about finding a healthier balance and deciding out of love rather than fear. Our second clarifier, the Magician, typically represents that we have all of the tools we need to co-create with Spirit and manifest our dreams, goals, and aspirations. In the context of this reading, I'm really picking up on that co-creation aspect of the card. In this particular card's image, there are earthly tools on the ground below as well as spiritual ones in the stars above. The Magician's hand raised towards the sky seems to acknowledge that manifesting is a team effort. Yes, we have everything we need to manifest our dreams, and that includes external supports and resources placed on our path by Spirit. By leveraging the loving, supportive energy provided by Spirit in the form of people, resources, opportunities, and within ourselves, we're able to transcend our anxieties, fears, and insecurities and co-create the life of our dreams. This last round of clarifiers came out as a set, so I'll start with the one facing up. The Three of Pentacles shows an artist at work, demonstrating skill and mastery that will bring recognition and success. In the context of this reading, I'm getting the sense that using the Six of Swords at releasing our fears and anxieties will allow us to focus those energies on that we were wasting in that area on what we are most passionate about. This focus and persistence will take you to higher levels of recognition and success because you'll no longer be plagued by self-doubt or by a need to be all things to all people. We're redirecting that wasted energy that we're currently stuck giving to worry and fear to pursuits that will fill us with passion and joy and help us realize success. Whatever our reverse burdens may be, I'm really getting the sense that for many of us, they present most strongly in the areas of our business, career, and finance of our lives. The Prince of Pentacles heralds success with business responsibilities. In the context of this reading, the focus and persistence you'll realize under Three of Pentacles as you travel further away from fear and anxiety through the Six of Swords will pay off in terms of success in your business or career. For those of us who have anxiety around failing to meet others' expectations, that anxiety can be very distracting, fragmenting our focus and actually put us at risk of not performing to our potential. Releasing that anxiety frees up our focus to be redirected toward our goals, producing a higher likelihood of our success. For those of us who fear relying on others for help, projects and tasks take longer to complete. Imagine how much more we could accomplish if we allowed others to help us, how much more quickly we'd be able to achieve our goals. And in either case, imagine how much more mental and emotional energy we will have to be able to invest in the areas of our lives that bring us the most joy. Ultimately, the more focused we are on the work at hand, and the stronger our resilience in the face of risk of rejection, the less likely we are to miss an opportunity, and therefore the greater the likelihood of the positive outcome of all of our efforts. The Moon card in this position is really giving me the sense of future choices, coupled with a need to trust in our own intuition as we make those choices. As I study the image of this card, I'm reminded of a story that I've heard several times, told a few different ways, and I will probably butcher it, so please bear with me. But it boils down in its simplest form to this. There are two wolves locked in battle inside all of us, representing the internal struggle between our negative energies and our positive ones. One wolf represents all of the negative emotions that we can feel: jealousy, anger, resentment, fear, while the other wolf represents all of the positive emotions: joy, love, gratitude, hope. The wolf that ultimately wins is the one we feed. Like I said earlier, the Six of Swords doesn't signal the completion of your transformation. Quite the opposite, is the beginning of that journey, with the first step being willing to rely on the supports the Spirit has made available to you to begin letting those fears and anxieties go. And along the way, as you work to release them, you will be presented with opportunities to practice keeping a healthy balance in form of choices. Spirit is asking us to rely on our own intuition to help us decide whether someone else's expectations align with our own, whether this particular project is well suited to collaboration, and then make the right choice based on what our intuition is telling us. The Moon card in the context of this reading for me really signals sort of a foreshadowing of giving us lots of opportunities to practice and helping us find that delicate balance between really listening to our own intuition. When is it the best choice? When is it the most optimal decision to meet others' expectations? When is it the best choice, the most optimal opportunity to work collaboratively in a group? Ultimately, that's something that has to be felt out. There's no hard and fast rule, and Spirit isn't asking you to go to the polar opposite end. The image of the Three of Swords in this position caught my eyes, specifically the placement of the pain and sorrow as a thought bubble rather than as a present experience the figure on the card is navigating. For this reason, and in the context of this reading, I'm really getting the sense that the Three of Swords represents one side of a choice provided by the Moon card, one side of the two-sided coin. We have the choice to remain as we are, to continue to allow our fears and anxieties to dominate our thoughts. So if we make our choices when we're presented with those opportunities from a place of feeding the wrong wolf, from a place of resentment, fear, anxiety, whatever that case may be, Three of Swords could be that outcome. But as we look at the final clarifier in this set, which is the universe or world, I'm again struck by the sense of the other side of the coin. The other possible outcome, if we choose to make our decisions feeding the right wolf, from a place of love, of joy, of hope, of trust in ourselves and in the energies that the universe has surrounded us with. The universe represents the other side of that option, to experience enlightenment, prosperity, wholeness, to be completely at peace with who and what we are, the life we've co-created with Spirit, and all of the abundance made available to us. So like I've been saying, the Moon card in this reading reminds us as we continue along our journey that we will have to choose again and again to refocus our energies away from our fears and anxieties and channel them into the environments, activities, and relationships that cause those positive feelings to grow and expand in order to co-create the life we will truly enjoy living. The life of abundance that Spirit has planned for all of us is there for us. And how quickly we align ourselves to Spirit will determine how quickly we get to realize all of the abundance that's in store. So the Three of Swords side of a choice means it'll take us longer to get there. Whereas if we feed the right wolf on the universe side of the choice that we make, we are inviting Spirit, we are confirming Spirit, yes, we understand, we're ready. And I just want to add here that it's hard. Sometimes our fears and our anxieties are so loud that they drown out our intuition, or sometimes they're so soft and insistent they can almost be mistaken for intuition. That's where the practice comes in. So quick recap here. 10 of Wands reversed represents our burdens of our fears and anxieties around either failing to meet others' expectations or asking for help or having an unhealthy need to have control. Empress encourages us to rely on the loving support of the energies that Spirit has put around us. 6 of Swords represents us starting out on that journey of releasing those fears, achieving mastery and success in our career and finance, and expecting to have many opportunities to make choices, which wolf to feed as we continue along that journey of growth away from fear and into love. In terms of support then, Spirit sends Chameleon Spirit, and that message is act as if. Spirit understands that choice to evolve is a difficult prospect. To help us manage our inner turmoil and bolster our confidence during this period, Chameleon Spirit reminds us of the old adage, fake it till you make it. In this context, that means looking at others around us who are successful without people-pleasing, or who are successful while working collaboratively as part of a team. Approach situations that require stepping out of your behavioral norms as though you were those people and how you believe they would behave in a similar set of circumstances. Turtle Spirit's message is slow and steady wins the race. In terms of this reading, Spirit wants us to know that evolution takes time. Turtle Spirit asks us to be patient with ourselves. What we are being tasked with is a process. And Rhino Spirit's message is overcome any obstacle. At its core, Rhino Spirit represents strength. When those of us who are burdened by people-pleasing find we are tempted to allow the needs and expectations of others to supersede our own, we'll need Rhino Spirit's strength to put our own needs first. Wombat Spirit's message is be at home. With this card, Spirit is asking us to be comfortable in our own skin. When we can accept ourselves for who and what we are, we can interact in our lives as our true and authentic selves. From that perspective, we are well prepared to be successful in each new opportunity that we encounter. Be it an opportunity to learn and grow, evolve and transform, or achieve and succeed, the more at home we can be with ourselves, the more abundant and successful our outcomes. Let's see what other supports Spirit would like us to have for this coming week. Earth represents our finances, generosity, family, and connections. Here, Creator Earth reminds us to take comfort and nourishment from our networks of support in order to keep us grounded along our journey. I'm going to ask Spirit to select a message from my gratitude deck. I really love these cards because they give us opportunities to reflect on where we are and help bring us to a mindset that leaves us open to all of the opportunities that Spirit has placed in our paths. This gratitude card begins with a quote, "Enough is a feast," which is a Buddhist proverb. This card asks us to consider that everything we need is already within us. As we progress from our journey, away from our fears and anxieties, Spirit is asking us to remain mindful of all that we've accomplished to this point and to be appreciative of ourselves for all that we overcame to not only get where we are, but to continue evolving. Before I pull the last card, let me just reset all of our messages to this point so I can get a really good picture of where we're at. All right, that looks good. Let's get just one more message from Spirit. Our affirmation card this week: there is a stream of love supporting my dreams. As we look at a summary of the takeaways from the Spirit messages this week, I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of the full reading. I've taken the messages down to 3 easy-to-remember points to take forward this week. Release fear-based habits, lean into the loving support available to you, and the path away from fears and anxieties leads to success, recognition, fulfillment, but it will take effort and time. This is the point at which we workshop Spirit's message. The idea is to think about Spirit's message in terms of your own circumstances and how it applies to you. This is the point you may want to pause the video and take some notes. Ask yourself, who in your network is successful and skilled at the opposite of your fear-based habit? How would it feel to ask them for and take their advice? Faced with your habit, what alternative action could you take in order to feed the right wolf? To create your action plan, you'll determine what decisions you'll make and what actions you'll take as a result. Again, feel free to pause the video and brainstorm. Look over your notes. What can you do to apply Spirit's guidance to your life circumstances this week? The key here is to create small, achievable tasks that will clear space for the blessings Spirit has coming your way. We aren't trying to boil the ocean, just one teacup at a time. What tools will help you follow through with the tasks you've chosen? This one's important because making changes is difficult. We are also busy. Adding tasks to our already full plates can seem like a lot, and we can often find ourselves running from one end of the ship to the other, putting out fires. And if that resonates with you, then this last bit asks you, what are you going to do to set fires to your intentions this week? And one little sort of additional action plan step for my returning friends. Think about Spirit's messages from previous workshops. If you're keeping your weekly workshop notes in a journal, that's even better. Take a look at those notes. Were there any messages repeated here today? If so, what can you do differently this week? As we head into the wrap-up, I just want to invite you to join us again next week. If you'd like to and you enjoyed this workshop, click the watermark in the bottom right corner of this video and then click subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications. I really hope you enjoyed today's workshop. May the insights taken away become a catalyst for positive growth in support of your best and highest good. And thank you for sharing your beautiful energy.